Welcome to another Pet Radio podcast on PetRadioShow.com.
Joining us today is Maria Reach, author of 1,000 Lifetimes. Welcome, Maria.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. It's wonderful to have you with us today, and I'm anxious to learn more about a story that is based on your experience with rescue animals and a dog in particular named Celeste.
Yes.
How does this story begin? How did you meet Celeste?
Okay, so Celeste and I actually are very much connected on a soul level. And so I got a message that was basically just put in my brain about this deaf dog. And at that time, my husband had convinced me to go down to the local animal shelter to donate some things. He really wanted to adopt another dog, but I absolutely did not want to. We were at a time in our life where there were some big changes coming, and I felt I had all that I could handle at the moment. And I got this message that on our way there that there would be this deaf dog. And so I busily argued with whatever entity had put this thought in my brain that there was no way I could have a deaf dog. And, of course, when I got to the shelter, there was Celeste. And so the story unfolds. Now, this is a dual memoir, so it is my story from my perspective, but it's also Celeste's story from her perspective. And this is important because it's not what I thought that she felt or thought about events in her life, but what she actually thought. And so I used two different animal communicators. Most of the story was done with Carol Harrison, but prior to meeting Carol, I had used another animal communicator, Callaway McLeod. And so Celeste was able to basically, it's very interesting, as we go through the years, and I live an unconventional life, so there was a lot of different things that happened. And so you get my take on what was happening, and then you get Celeste's perspective. So it's really quite fascinating to see how they think and feel about things. And it will, I think even for people who've had animals their whole life, I think it will enlighten them in ways that they never even thought of before. So it will deepen your relationships with the animals that you have.
Now, do you consider yourself an animal communicator?
I am not. I've had some experiences that were definitely breakthroughs, but I'm a very... I'm pretty grounded in science. What I do for a living with the Pet Health and Nutrition Center is help pet owners make good decisions for their animals' care. Mm-hmm. And so I do a tremendous amount of research on that. And, of course, at some point, I'm sure we'll have a science to explain how all of this is possible, how telepathic communication, because that's what animal communication is. It's telepathic communication. So it's not psychic. You're not, in essence, mind reading or predicting the future. You're literally hearing or getting the information from the animals of what they're actually thinking. And you're able to, if you have this ability, to give them questions so that you can get answers to things. But I have had a couple of instances where I have gotten very clear messages. Most of the time, excuse me, I'm so busy with other things that I don't get quiet enough to focus to do that.
So you worked with, you said, a couple of animal communicators, and basically you use them to, I guess, to get the perspective of Celeste on various things that were happening in your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There were events that went on where I was using an animal communicator just to talk with my animals, to find out, sometimes to get solutions to problems that we might have had, and sometimes just to get their take on things. Just like other people in your life that you like to check in with people you care about to see how they're feeling or thinking about things. I like to do the same thing with my pet. So I don't always, sometimes it's a particular problem, and sometimes it's just, hey, let's check in and see how everybody's doing, and does anybody have anything they want to discuss or that they have a problem with or would like to change. And you'd be amazed at, they're individuals just like we are, and their lives are filled with thoughts and opinions about how they think things should go, and you can really enrich your life with them if you are willing to be open to that. We can't always accede to, what they want. Sometimes my dog Maya, years ago, when we first got her, was pulling on the leash. She was another deaf pit bull. We adopted about 10 months after we got Celeste. And she had all kinds of suggestions on how we could remedy that. And one of them was just get rid of the leash. But naturally, that wasn't an option. And so we had to discuss with her what was happening, that it was causing Phil discomfort, and we were able to get much more cooperation out of her once she understood why we needed the leash, and that her effect on Phil was not one that she was happy about. She didn't want to hurt him. So she was much more cooperative after that.
Now, did this happen sometime in the past, or is this a current experience? Is Celeste still with you?
Celeste is not with me anymore. Well, she is. She's always with me, actually, and that's part of the message of the book. The most important message, there's so many messages in this book, but one of the most important messages is that the souls that we're very connected to in this life do not actually leave us. And Celeste never leaves me. But at some point she'll come back if I'm ever ready for her to come back. If not, we'll be together again, in spirit, and then we'll have another life expression. But all of that is, it's all wrapped up in the unfolding of the book.
Sure. So when you had Celeste, how many dogs did you have in your household at that point?
When we first adopted Celeste, we had an older dog, Cody, and then over the course of the next, I'm just trying to think, I think about a year and a half or so, we introduced Maya, another deaf pit bull, and Doc, a border collie from Best Friends Animal Society in Utah. Oh. And then Cody wound up passing. So we wound up basically, for most of their lives, there were the three of them. Mm-hmm. And we had three cats, wow. Oliver, Lacey, and Blaze.
Wow. Well, what made Celeste different from the rest of the dogs that you had and may have had previously in your life? What made Celeste stand out from the rest?
Okay, so each animal is unique, just like each human is unique, right? Mm-hmm. And they also have varying levels of ability and connection. So Celeste was incredibly fluid at telepathic communication. She was incredibly empathic about things around her. Maya was far more grounded in the here and now. So they're all very, very different. But for Celeste and myself, Celeste was a much more spiritual being, and we were very, very connected deeply in our souls, and always will be. And that's really what made her different. Her whole essence was very sweet, but very transcendent. It's hard to put it into words, even though I've written a whole book about it. And she had a purpose in this lifetime, and she had challenges due to over-vaccination, and probably some genetic predisposition. And so there was much that I learned with working with her over the years that will help others. Mm-hmm. And so I think she had a dual purpose to help us understand a little bit more about the damage that we're doing with so many things that we do on a routine basis, and also to understand that our animals are unique individuals, and that even though we think of them as living in our lives, from their perspective, we're living in their life. Mm. And so we need a little bit more of a paradigm shift in that regard, and that was all part and parcel of why she was here.
Well, would you say that your experience with her, your relationship with her, was a learning experience? Did it teach you some valuable lessons, you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's the one that really introduced me to animal communication. I had heard of it, but had not really pursued it prior to having Celeste. She opened up so many ideas for me on not only how to exist and be the best human possible in the here and now, but about a deeper spiritual connection to everything. Yeah, she was an amazing teacher and truly the love of my life.
Wow. Do you think that she helped enrich your experience with your other dogs? Did it kind of carry over to
Absolutely.
to change?
Absolutely. Yes. And that's my hope in the book, that it will help other people with the same thing. I've always had a good relationship with my animals, but it is a million times better than it was, and I didn't even realize that it could be so much better. I thought I was doing really well. And so yes, she definitely moved me into a much better place that is extended to not only the animals in my life, but the people as well.
Wow. So she really did change your life and the course that you took in life, how you looked at the animals and even other people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You mentioned your business. You have you and your husband have a business where you provide I guess consultation to people of how to have a better handle on the health of their pet, and you provide vitamins and supplements and.
Yeah, we do. We manufacture whole food organic vitamins, supplements, and herbal remedies.
Oh, all right. And of course you're a sponsor of our website, which we're
yes.
real happy to have you with us. I hope we can hear more from you about some of your remedies and what people can do to use your products to make a better life, a better health for their pets.
Absolutely. I would be happy to do that.
We'll have to have you come back and do that.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, Maria. Well, thanks so much. It's a pleasure to hear from you about your book. It sounds like a beautiful story.